I had been away for over 20 years. I harbored an insurmountable resentment towards Bishop Sergio because I accused him of causing my downfall. Yes, it's true. I held a grudge against him. I was an assistant pastor, and I had been in the state of Goiás. And when I arrived in Goiás, I asked to return. When I asked to return, I went straight back to the time of abolition. I spoke with him. At the time, he was Pastor Sergio, and he said, "Which church are you from?" I said, "The church in Jacarezinho." "Ah, then go back there and be an assistant." I came back. So, this revolt took place within me. I even tried to go back to being a church assistant. But there at church too, it seemed like everything was against me. It seemed like I was a victim. My mistake. I was just being proud. But I didn't see it. So I decided to distance myself. I distanced myself with this resentment, with this anger. Then I married my wife. After I distanced myself, had a daughter, and I started filling that void. I started by drinking alcohol, a lot of beer. Then I moved on to alcoholic drinks. And from alcoholic drinks, I was already using drugs. When I realized what I was doing, I was already a marijuana user, but the marijuana got weak. It didn't give me that high anymore. So I started snorting. When I thought things couldn't get any worse, they did, because that's when I discovered crack. Just skin and bones, to the point of leaving my house and living in a crack den. All this because of this resentment, this void inside me. I had already decided that I didn't want to live anymore, so much so that I knew. I was aware of what I was bringing to my family, of the harm it was causing in their lives. She didn't marry an alcoholic. She didn't marry an addict. She didn't marry a crackhead. She was simply living through it. So I had this guilt inside me. I overdosed twice. I lost my identity. I didn't want to know about God. When I passed by the church door, when Silvana, my wife, invited me to church, I always had this on my mind. I couldn't get it out of me. Then my wife told me that Bishop Sergio was going to my house to talk to me. And he asked me what happened. I told him this story, and he asked why I had distanced myself. Then I looked him in the eyes and said it was his fault. And I remember his reaction. He opened his eyes. He stayed there for think milliseconds. And he asked me for forgiveness. He himself asked me for forgiveness. This hurt was also from God. I said, God never helped me. God never looked at me. But God was looking at me all the time. When he made me an assistant again, there in Goiânia, I received help. I received help when I returned from Goiânia. I received help when Bishop Sergio came to my house. So, because of the resentment, I couldn't see it. And there he prayed for me. He prayed a powerful prayer, and I felt relieved. But he asked the question, "So, are you coming back?" I said, "No." But I had an opportunity to come to God's house. I was tired, overwhelmed. So I decided to ask God for forgiveness. I got baptized. And once again, this is powerful. Once again, God honored me. There was a vigil led by Bishop Sergio, and it was a total surrender. I made the decision. I surrendered. I gave myself 100%. And that day I said to God, God, I don't just want your spirit to speak in tongues. I want your spirit to be your witness. And there was a deliverance. And there I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. And since that day, the Holy Spirit brings this peace, brings this confidence. There was a visit from Bishop Sergio here, on the sacred ground, which I also had the opportunity to attend. because he left my house and didn't see that rescue happening. And when the meeting ended, I said I wanted to talk to him. I said, "Forgive me." And he, with joy, hugged me. I said, "Can I take a picture of you? Let me take your picture." And he took our picture. So, everything I thought was bad, that God had died for me, that the Universal Church had died for me, everything had died. God goes and rescues that purity that I knew when I first set foot in the Universal Church. Today I am transformed. I no longer need drugs. I don't need them anymore. Just thinking about drugs makes me feel like vomiting. Today I have the seal of the Holy Spirit. I have the assurance of my salvation, and my soul has been redeemed.
It all began there, through that redemption, and today I not only witness the power of God, but also this beautiful work that has brought so many other people who had strayed back into God's presence.